4 p.m. This is the April 20th, 2016 Finance Committee meeting. On the agenda for this evening, we are finalizing our budget recommendations and town meeting warrant recommendations. Bear with me for 1 second. All right, so last night the Board of Selectmen met. They finalized the budget that they are putting on the warrant, and they finalized the warrant itself. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take an approach in regards to the budget. We're gonna go through, we're gonna discuss our recommendations and what we prefer to see. We will work reactively as opposed to proactively due to that. And we'll put together a plan for town meeting from that.
Would this be their
That
budget?
is the, yes, that's the presentation
That's
that was
Lisa's
given last night.
presentation, yeah. We don't have a copy of their final budget, actually.
I do,
Oh, good.
it's coming, bear with me.
No, that's good, good, good.
So here is their budget from the town accountant. This was approved with comments.
Oops, I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna inundate everyone with paper at this point. So here is, right now, our cover sheet, or I guess summary sheet, with the variances that we have to the BOS. There are some minor out of balances, but directionally it is correct. And here is our working model updated
Okay,
as of today.
that was- Thank you.
All right,
I had visions of you doing this at lunch today.
it was half my day actually, so.
All right, so all these other spreadsheets are not needed except for the one with my handwriting on it.
So why don't we begin with, figure this out. It's too small of a table for this much paper.
Would you like to put your laptop over here?
No, I'm okay.
And then we have room to spread?
No, I'm okay. Just bear with me. I had everything thought out in my mind and it's slipped away.
You didn't meet. First April meeting? Yes.
All right. So why don't we begin with, we'll go through the budget itself, the large handout. So I think for the last time I went through, some of the discussion points were highlighted, which they are still color-coded for this discussion. One note, on the top of the cost of living adjustment, you'll see it says 0%, but I did add in a 1%, since that is, seems to be our official position. If there's any changes to that, we can have that discussion as we go through.
Can I ask a general question about the COLA,
Yes,
please?
sure.
And it's something that's been weighing on my mind for a while, and I don't know if we've actually discussed it, but the COLA in the omnibus is across the board, non-union and union?
Non-union only.
Only
In the budget, if there is a contract in place that
Okay.
is approved, then that has been added to the budget. So there is a mix of
stuff in
COLA,
there,
yeah.
All right, the reason I ask that is because one year I remember Lisa spending an inordinate amount of time adjusting the budget because the numbers were different or wrong or whatever.
Okay,
So this 1% applies only to non-union.
yes, yeah,
At
so
the
there
moment.
is, and that's actually on the model, that's why I split it out into a separate column. Generally, the budget submissions will include the 2% for any contracts, union contracts that are in place. So therefore, I found having it in a separate column just made it a lot easier to track.
Totally agree, but thank you for that. That was the one overriding question we had.
Okay. So why don't we just go through on the budget. If we have anything we want to discuss, we'll kind of walk through, say pass if there's something you want to go over. So moderator, Board of Selectmen, benefits management, reserve fund transfer, town accountant, computer support, Board of Assessors, Town treasurer,
Pass,
on the treasurer,
please.
okay. Tax collector. Finance committee. Parking tickets. Town council, I'm gonna do a pass on that one. Management support.
Pass,
Tax title. Town clerk. Elections and registration. Town hall postage. Personnel board. Information technology. Conservation commission. Planning board. Zoning board of appeals.
that goes back to management support, I think, so I'm gonna pass there, I'm trying to tie them together,
Okay.
maybe.
Economic development. Public buildings and property maintenance.
That's Dan Sherman, right?
Yes.
And my thing was the beach.
Building insurance. Police accident insurance. Communications committee. Police department, pass.
Pass.
Fire department. Building inspection,
Pass.
pass. Barn inspector. Stormwater management.
I can't turn pages that fast.
I'll slow down.
No, it's not you, it's just,
Emergency management.
I have a note here about putting that under the fire department.
I was never able to follow up on that.
Okay.
I think we're too late in the process. I think that's something we have to do going into the budget cycle.
I know, but even if it's just a separate line item under his budget, it makes much more sense.
Animal control, tree warden, DPW admin. I'll
Yeah,
take a pass
pass.
on that one. Highway department. Vehicle repair.
Wait. Okay, thank you.
Stormwater management. Snow removal, pass. Just for discussion. Street lighting. DPW fuel. DPW equipment repair. Cemetery department. Board of Health. Neshoba Board of Health. Disability Commission. Council on Aging. Veterans Agent. Veterans Benefit. Library. Parks, I'll do a pass on that for discussion. Parks Department. Air Shirley Football. Little League. Historical Commission. Public Celebrations. American Legion. 4th of July. Holiday Lights, which is a new line item that's been added. Retirement of debt, principal, retirement of debt, interest. Retirement and pension, workers' comp, unemployment compensation. Pass on that one, just because I need to actually change the amount. Other employee benefits. Group health insurance. Take a pass on that for discussion.
Just realized I'm
And
writing all my
that's
passes
all
down.
through the operating.
Alright.
Alright, so circling back. Our first pass was on town treasurer. And Colleen, you wanted to pass on that?
Yeah, I just happened to read, it's more of a discussion item than a budgeting item as much, but it may turn into one. I just happened to read that, should Ms. Copeland be elected, she intends to add a position to the treasurer's office, the very same position that was removed a year and 2 years ago.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Well, yeah, I figured you might be aware of it. It's not budgeted for FY17 that I recall hearing in any of the
For-
presentations.
No, it is not budgeted, and because it's an elected position, we move into the budget cycle as it,
From the existing,
with the existing
This is
structure, if you will.
the reason I raised that is, we had quite a discussion last year, I think, during a change in the budget for the selectman's office and perhaps another office as well, that wasn't budgeted, and we did a reserve fund transfer.
So
Which,
So I will say this, from personal conversation with Ms. Copeland, her intent is to actually reduce the salary on town meeting floor
in May, on the 9th,
if she wins, yes, on the 9th. Cause there's also a piece from the town, which the town accountant, and I had a quick conversation over. She is not sure if, an individual can actually pull 2 full-time salaries from the town. So therefore, it's possible where, you know, if Ms. Copeland wins the election, she would have pulled the clerk and the collector, which are sing together a full-time salary, plus the treasurer. She would have to drop one of those in order to collect.
or to collect a salary.
Yeah, to collect a salary. That would be her, there's a cap on what she can.
Well, it's not simply a budget question, I read that as well, and that's
Mhm.
a different issue, although I don't think that what I read was clear that she would reduce her, or the existing treasurer's budget at town meeting.
The salary, not necessarily the budget.
There isn't that much in the budget, but all right, the salary line item. The point is, to a certain extent, it was a decision of the Board of Selectmen, and assistant treasurer was no longer needed, and they created the benefits manager position, drew the salary from the treasurer's budget to fund the benefits manager. So why would, if we have an elected treasurer, which we must have under the state statute,
Mhm.
why would we then need an assistant treasurer?
It's.
I don't expect an answer.
I'm gonna end the conversation on this, because I don't want to get bogged down in
Right.
the minutia of it. That for this purpose, I understand that there are feelings both ways. I understand that if Ms. Copeland wins, she has a plan. I don't know exactly what her execution plan is for that if she does win. But for this purposes, we're moving forward as having a treasurer position that is being up for election in April, and if someone other than Ms. Copeland wins, it's business as usual, and that's how we're gonna go forth from there.
We are required by law to have an elected treasurer, to have a treasurer, whether it's
Right.
elected or appointed
Correct,
is a decision of town meeting.
correct,
Town meeting decided elected, so we are required to have an
Correct.
elected treasurer.
Yep.
If Miss Copeland wins, she would be the elected treasurer.
correct.
That doesn't have anything to do with my question, whether she wins or not, has nothing to do with the feeling. It has to do with, if we have an elected treasurer, as we are required.
Yeah.
Why do we need an assistant treasurer?
That's not on the table for the budget.
All right,
Right.
well, I think it's important for us to keep in mind, because
Mm-hmm.
of the issues with respect to funding that may or may not come before us.
Correct.
That's all I wanted to get
Okay.
across.
Anything else on the town treasurer? Town council, so the town council budget, I did increase by 25% total, which is $15,000 more than the last time we reviewed the budget. The reasoning for that is on April 5th, I believe it was, the Board of Selectmen elected to pursue eminent domain on property related to the train station, the commuter rail station. And the town administrator anticipates that there will be additional legal costs for that. His estimate is possibly $15,000. So therefore, he requested that that be added to the budget. So I think that it's worthwhile. to have in there in the event. The way that the warrant spells it out, we're not, town meeting does not vote on whether to pursue eminent domain until the tail end of town meeting. Any
I'm sorry,
objection?
there's a warrant article?
There are
for
two
us?
warrant articles, 37 and 38. One is for, well, this 37 and 38, we'll talk to them when we get to the warrant.
That's fine, that's
Yeah.
fine. So it's an increase of 15,000.
Anything else on town council? No? Management support? We both passed on this one, Pauline.
But then I'll let you go first, you may answer
All
any
right.
questions.
So mine, sorry. Sorry about my voice. So, I don't know, this one just doesn't sit right with me. So what we're doing, or what the proposal is, we're removing, we're hiring an individual. And then we're moving some budget money from building inspection to the tune of, if I can find it. It's easier to find on a computer than it is on a printout.
Building inspection, well, it's not page numbers, but it's right after fire department, which is right after police department.
So we're having a net reduction of about $8,000 in the building inspection department. That $8,000 in theory is moving to management support. And in part of that $40,000 that's being added for this one position. It is a union position. We'll handle the building inspection department and also the planning board. And I'm not sure if there's anyone else that they're throwing in there. Mary, do you know? Those are the two big ones. They'd say like the permitting department, but I'm not sure exactly what falls into that.
She's already here.
I know, but
Oh, okay.
she's being paid out of UDAG for this year, and then next year I'm assuming is dependent on the budget.
Not you, Dick. She's being paid out of the building department because you put extra money in there this year.
I was told she was being paid out of UDAG by the town administrator.
No, you know what was out of UDAG, if you don't mind me interrupting.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Was the $5,000 that they're paying someone to finish up with the planning board this year.
Alright,
to do
that's
the
it, yeah, you're right, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
yeah.
But the individual that's the individual that will roll into this position, from my understanding.
She is in that position. No, you got two different people here.
Okay.
They're two
Alright.
different individuals.
So the question, I guess, for discussion for tonight is related to this position on the management support line item, is if we support this movement within the budget and also personnel.
Historically, management support line item, and I'm sure you already know this, has always been for the printing of the town meeting,
Mhm.
annual report, not the warrant, I'm sorry, although I think the warrant might have come out under there.
It does, yeah.
If you look at the prior year's numbers, it was all of $8,000, which was basically printing services. The wages, I'm not exactly sure why there was a wage line in there
There isn't,
ever.
that's actually.
Oh, I'm
been added.
sorry, you're right,
Yeah,
right.
that's new.
Services, printing services, and then services. The placement of the position of land use administrator is how I understand the new position to
Mhm,
be.
yeah.
Under management support, doesn't make sense to me if it's servicing the building department, or the building inspection department, or the planning board, or is it working out of economic development? I mean, everything
Not
seems,
that in economic.
everything seems to be the word I want is. But I can't think of a rational reason to put a wage item for an individual serving in a land use position, which is tied to the building department, under a management support line item. I read the explanation from the town administrator to some of the other questions, and I do not follow it. I'll talk about that when we get to the ZBA, but I don't understand why this does not go under
Is your problem
building.
just the placement?
My primary problem with the
Underneath
management
management
support
support?
line item is the placement of the
Okay, well,
wages.
right at this point, there's nothing we can do about that. The budget is going forward, it is in the warrant in this manner with the management support.
Well, I think there is something we can say about it, whether we can move it out of here ourselves, probably not, but we could certainly suggest it be moved at town meeting with the explanation that it is servicing
Okay,
the building inspection department and the planning board department. Because one of the explanations given at one point was, and it's not in the explanation we received from the town administrator, but I believe it was last meeting, was it couldn't, the salary couldn't be put in the planning board because that would require a warrant article.
yes.
Which begs the question, if it requires a warrant article for this salary to go under the planning board, why doesn't it require a warrant article for this salary to go under management support?
Because it's an existing budget line item, town meeting zeroed out the planning board line item, and therefore they can't, it takes an article of town meeting to reestablish a budget for the planning board.
And where's, I know that's an explanation given. I could find no support for that anywhere. I said I was gonna look. I've asked other towns, and no one's ever heard of such a thing. But we also didn't know for certain how the money came out of the planning board budget in the first place, and that's why I was looking for the annual report. And it was during the omnibus.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, things are funded in the omnibus all the time that weren't there yesterday or last year. Case in point, holiday lights.
I like the holiday.
I'm not saying that's not the point, but
Yeah, right.
why can that be added without a warrant article? I know there was a
Okay,
warrant article
and
last
that's,
year.
and
I mean,
that's fine.
the question.
So, yeah, like my question, or I guess my area of conversation for this line item isn't where it is. It's whether we support that,
The position,
the position itself,
it already exists though.
pending town meeting funding. How does this position exist? There isn't a person working for planning. There's a person getting $5,000 out of UDAG to work for planning. There isn't a person working for building inspection other than our building inspector. And then he has an assistant who's part-time. They're gonna flip, where the assistant will become full-time, the inspector will become part-time.
Yes, sure will.
So this isn't, for FY17, there isn't an existing position in the FY16 budget that we're just carrying over and moving into management support.
There's a land use administrator who has been hired,
But there isn't one in the FY16 budget
which begs the question how they're paying
for
for it.
UDAG for the rest of the fiscal year.
No, the staff position for planning board is the UDAG funding.
Then I have no frickin' clue.
I get that, I mean, and that's not your fault or our fault. It's not been explained well, I don't believe, but there is a hire called the land use administrator, started a month or so ago. And I just tripped across that, it's not something I asked or learned on my own. I think it was on the agenda that I read, on the bulletin board. And that started me thinking too, but why isn't that position, if it was hired, why isn't it, who is it under? Who does it answer to? I presume it would answer to the town administrator the way the budget is laid out, but
Yeah.
why doesn't it answer to the building commissioner? Or
Well,
something,
my understanding,
economic
this
use.
position in management support will also fall under the town administrator.
so why isn't that budget then in the selectmen's line item budget? I mean, the
Yeah.
questions I'm asking, I don't expect you to have the answers, they're more
Oh, believe me, I don't.
generic, well, I don't want you to get upset with me for asking the question of you. It's a, why aren't we, meaning the town, putting the budget,
But so
Where-
if this is a person that they've already hired with 3 months left, 4 months left in the FY16 budget cycle, regardless of where they're being paid out of, now they want to spend an additional, the net's $32,000. The town meeting has the right to say no. And we have the right to say no, it doesn't belong in management support. We have the right to say no, we don't want to pay that position, you went ahead and hired it before the end of the fiscal year. And I guess that's, for me, that's what I'm looking for from the two of you is, do you care that this position exists? Do you want to keep this position in the budget? The different approach I think we need to take with this town meeting is, because we're working on a reactive manner, is like, yes, whatever the Board of Selectmen put forward on the town meeting warrant for the budget, we can afford that. It fits into the budget, numbers tie out, whatever. But ultimately it comes down to town meeting's decision whether they want to pay that. And whether they want these new positions. Regardless of whether they've hired someone with 4 months left in the FY16 budget cycle.
you are making some of the very same arguments I made with respect to the stipend that we reserve fund transferred to cover after the selectmen opted to give it after the budget was
Mhm.
approved. So
For the ZBA.
for the ZPA.
Part of,
Yeah.
so part of my reasoning for supporting that was hearing from ZBA members requesting
I get
administrative
that.
support.
My issue there was the funding mechanism,
Mhm.
not the who, what, or where. Funding mechanism should not have been a reserve fund, it should have been an omnibus issue in the fall
Okay.
town meeting.
Yeah.
The land use administrator is a union position hired by the town, the selectmen. According to the email response from Mr. Pombrian dated April 5th, 2016, in questioning the ZBA position, he added a fair amount of information about the land use administrator, so for the sake of our discussion, I'll just read what he says. The land use administrator provides the admin support for the building. Town administrator assistant provides admin support for a ZBA under the BOS. The email does not say the land use administrator provides admin support for building under the BOS. So that's one of my arguments for putting that position, funding, and everything else under the building department. The land use administrator is a union position. He says this 3 different times. To have the position present at evening ZBA meetings to provide admin support, which is not what I was asking, etc., would trigger overtime, as the land use administrator position is a full-time position, not including evening meetings. Overtime would be necessitated under the contract. In negotiating the official union job description, ZBA functions were not part of the job description by the union and the town, largely for the reasons set forth in number 1 above, which was the land use works for the building department, whereas the TA assistant works for the Board of Selectmen. With that in mind, they've already hired the person without the funding. If funding isn't authorized by town meeting, I don't know what happens, because the union contract says it's subject to appropriation at town meeting. So this individual would
happened
go
in
the
the
same
position
way
last
of
time.
the other individual
Yeah.
when funding was removed. Your issue is a little different from mine, although I totally agree with your position. Mine was, where does the money belong? It belongs in the building department. It doesn't belong, for lack of a better word, and I apologize for the offense, hidden in a management support line.
Absolutely.
If the position reports to the Board of Selectmen, which it does not according to the town administrator's correspondence, then it belongs under the selectmen's budget. But since the town administrator has told us it reports provides admin support for building, the funding belongs under building. But then there's, before it even goes there, the overwhelming question is, does it get funded? I don't know how we raise those questions to town meeting without a lot more information. Who is
So-
the president of the union these days?
I think it's Karen.
So maybe we speak to the president of the union,
Karen,
Swanville, and ask her to explain to us, or come to us and explain to us, because it was negotiated. Which means there should be a contract document showing the addendum.
and the position previously was $33,500 worth of salary, and now we're at 40,000 plus the 12,000 for the ZBA.
Right, so it's 52 for a net cost, and 19 grand more than it used to be.
Okay, so for this exercise, I mean, regardless of where it sits, we can look into that after the fact if we want to try moving it. Do we want to leave on our recommended budget, leave that money in there, or shall we take action otherwise? Marion, you are allowed to speak this evening. I do want to stress that.
I'm a little tired, Scott.
Understandable. So am I.
I haven't thought through about leaving it in there or not, as clearly as I had where the funding belonged.
Okay.
But that said, having heard your thoughts on this subject, I don't want to say argument, your thoughts and your
I'm a little chippy tonight. I'm sorry.
No, I know you are, but I don't have any issues with that, with anyone being like that, but I don't think you're making an argument. I think you were expressing your thoughts and views on it. I totally agree with you. Again, we are sitting here facing a backwards funding mechanism, which I think was the way I characterized the stipend. Put the position in, pay it, and then worry about where the funds come later. When you fund something in municipal government and then buy it, you don't buy it and then fund it. However, if we decide to oppose it, then we have to present to town meeting as to why.
Yes, we would have to. The other, so I think, so my take on, or I guess my thought process when it comes to new positions like this or situations like this is ultimately town meeting has final approval. So at this point, I think most importantly for this town meeting, our role is to present information that lets them have discussion, lets town meeting have a discussion and make that decision whether what they want to do. So I mean I know I kind of worded it as being opposed to it, etc. It definitely rubs me the wrong way, but I say my thought is we leave it in, but we just mention that in our presentation when we have, because even if we have, whether or not we have a fundamental difference of agreement on like a budget line item, like for example on the COLA, whether it's 1% or 2%, or the police, the patrolman, whether it's 2 patrolmen, 1 patrolman. Ultimately, I think that because the warrant has been approved, unless we are staunchly against something that is in the Board of Selectmen budget, we just present the necessary information to town meeting and let them make that decision.
I agree with what you're saying about giving town meeting the information to make the decision. However, town meeting's only function is financial. They can't decide whether or not a position exists or not. They decide whether the position is funded.
And it comes down to whether or not the funding exists, yes.
The selectmen have hired somebody without getting the funding in place
Right.
again. or created a position, let me say that, I don't wanna say hired somebody, created a position without putting the funding in place first again.
Yes.
That might cut across some craw, but that's what needs to be said.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I do.
And then we'll have the battle royal of the angered town administrator and see how that all plays out.
Okay.
Well, it's not like we haven't been there
Let's make my
before.
presentation and drop the mic and walk away.
But I do think if we speak to the union president or ask her to provide us with additional information, we can also look for the contract, because there must have been an addendum to it. I find it, well, never mind.
Can you enlighten me on your thoughts on that, just since, you know, there's three of us at the table, please?
I think there needs to be more transparency.
So we'll leave it in the budget as is? And,
Well, where can we, what
well,
can
I
we do
mean,
with it? We
for-
can't
it's,
take it
it's,
out.
yeah, it's an in or an out for our recommendations.
Oh, well, if
I'm
we're
just
gonna make a
clarifying
specific
position.
recommendation about where in the budget it is,
We can do that, that would have to be on town meeting floor.
right. As far as the position itself, and I can't support a position that wasn't,
When you said it was an increase of $19,000 between the,
well, there's that too, but I mean, it's a position that didn't exist and that was created without funding, and now we're being asked to hide it in management support. I mean, I hate to keep using that word, but that's what it looks like to me. Otherwise, why not put it in the building department or put it in the planning department, since it's a support for planning? This individual going to be taking the minutes and so on at the planning board meeting?
No idea.
So if it's a daytime, full-time job that reports to planning or reports to building, that's where it needs to go.
I didn't do it.
Wherever you are, there's a ghost in the room.
There's a lot of ghosts in my head, I'll tell you that right now.
You know, I don't know what to say about the position. I don't think we have the ability to say, you gotta fire the person.
Comes down to the funding. But I say we leave it and we speak to it at town meeting
I'm good with that.
and go from there.
Well, we can't move it from there.
Yeah, we
anyway.
can't, I mean, we
So
can't
it's
make
in
any
the budget.
movements within,
And we let town meeting,
okay. Zoning Board of Appeals, did that suffice your zoning Board of
Oh, God,
Appeals
no.
pass?
no. Explain.
There was a glimmer of hope that it would.
Well, I think, I gotta get back to the one with the P's on it, because, oh, was that actually the next one? There are other elements in the town administrator's correspondence answering questions raised regarding the zoning board of appeals that I did want to chat about. The zoning bylaws have been in existence since 1973.
Mhm.
So miraculously, for however many years that is, 53-ish?
I was born in '73 and no.
Well, okay.
So thank you.
46, I can't do the math that quickly. I had it in my head the other day, but however many years that is. Well, I graduated college that year, I ought to know. At any rate, I didn't even think of that right away. Until 2015, the town has been doing it all wrong, because that position should not have been separately funded under the ZBA with their own clerical admin support staff. Now that position must be, because it's an an appellate board, it must be under the Board of Selectmen because the Board of Selectmen decided that. Compare that to the assessors, who have an assessing administrator. The assessors is also an appellate board. So, aside from the rationale that the ZBA staff member must be under the Board of Selectmen because it's an appellate board, why is the assessors staff support not also under the Board of Selectmen? The explanations make no sense unless we are trying to preserve a stipend for a friend we hired.
Watch the accusations, please.
I'm making a potential suggestion. It's not an accusation, it's the truth. There was a stipend paid to somebody who was hired who was a friend before they were hired.
Mhm.
That stipend was not funded through a town meeting process as it should be, and a reserve fund transfer was given. The ZBA functions were always under the union until 2015. Again, I do not accept, or I don't understand or accept the rationale for
I
this.
I don't either, and that's why having the management position plus the 12,000 ZVA stipend doesn't sit well with me. Because
And
we're taking a position that was $33,000, and now it's costing us almost $60,000 to do very similar functions. There is the building inspection piece added in there, but still, it's just not, the explanations just don't line up. And if we're hiring a land use, the initial proposal that I had that was discussed last year, it was after last year's town meeting, was a land use, and it did include ZBA.
That was the personnel
That
board
was-
discussion.
No, it was just conversation with the town administrator, he and I had. Because it was after town meeting where I think it was the planning board chairman had reached out to myself directly and also the town administrator, we need something. And so the discussion was around putting together a consolidated position, but at that point, it was going to include ZBA.
There's another thought that occurred to me in terms of you can't work under the,
Can't be under the same, or doing something similar with the planning board as the ZBA.
exactly, and I can't remember how it was phrased in here, but because the ZBA is an appellate board of the building department, it needs to be segregated from the building department because of internal controls, theoretically that being the planning board. If that's the case, why then would the selectmen appoint an elected planning board member to the ZBA, or vice versa? There's obviously a conflict there.
Yeah.
So none of this explanation jives in my head with my experience on ZBA for years. And all of a sudden, we haven't been doing it right for however many years it's been, 40 at least. Doesn't make sense to me.
I hear you.
So do we reduce the selectmen's budget by $12,000? As part of our discussion item for town meeting?
It's an option. It's definitely an option.
I hate to say this, but I think we need to give this all some serious thought and have another meeting before May 9th to finalize how we're going to
Right,
put
yeah,
this all together.
I did want to
Okay.
discuss that at the end meeting again too.
Uh,
To meet,
I don't even know how to make a note about that, but that was it.
okay. Anything else on ZBA? Mary Ann, you still shooting over there?
Yes.
Okay, just checking. Alright, police department.
We both kind of passed on it at the same time, but again, I'll
Yeah,
let you,
I'll let you go first, cause mine was more just for discussion.
well, your discussion may have the answers, but I understand the selectmen appointed another police officer last
Mhm.
night.
My
3
understanding,
or 2?
They appointed one more last night, which makes 3.
the Lowell Sun article said it was available due to a retirement.
No, nobody has retired as of this afternoon.
Okay.
I'm just giving you the facts. I'm not
Okay.
questioning what
That's
you
fine.
know or don't know. So theoretically, since they have an extra police officer now, they don't need 2 in July. Maybe.
But if we're providing the funding, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna go out and hire 2 more. If they have, hear me out. If
I
they're-
didn't say anything, that was her.
You had a look on your face. If, for example, if there's money in the budget that will allow the hiring of a patrolman through the end of the year with Board of Selectmen support for 2 patrolmen, and Finance Committee, we've said at least 1, I think is kind of at least the sense I get from us, that we would support 1 additional patrolman at least. We haven't taken a final position, which is why I wanted to discuss it. As long as there's money in the FY16 budget, they can make that appointment. There's funding in place within the current omnibus budget for the police department. And then in FY16, if only 1 is approved at town meeting, the funding is there for the individual that they've hired. If town meeting approves 2, then funding is there for that person plus 1 other. And then maybe if there is that hopeful retirement, that opens up more funding in another position. Does that make sense?
I follow what you're saying.
Okay, good, because I didn't want it whatsoever.
I follow what you're saying, but I didn't follow how you said it.
Looking at strictly on a funding perspective, if in FY16 there is enough money to hire patrolmen through the end of the fiscal year, there's support, though the omnibus isn't final, there's support for at least 1 additional position. Or on, giving the budget itself and the size, he might be able to move stuff around to make that funding available. When FY17 begins, if town meeting approves 1 position, that funding's already there for that position, if the retirement doesn't happen before FY16.
I have no qualms with
Okay.
how or what you're saying.
Alright,
The FY17 proposed budget from the selectmen includes 2 patrolmen,
correct.
and I presume 2 dispatchers, or whatever numbers you
Yes.
said 2. The chief has already added a new patrolman as of last night, so that's 2 months, 3 months left to the year. Our discussion last meeting, on the 31st, was we would support 2 patrolman positions, but only funding for 1 on the theory that there should be enough left in the FY.
Yep.
Historically, there's always enough left in the budget for funding of a patrolman.
And I talked to Chief Mario.
So I think what he's done is an end round, funding it since he knew he had the money in the budget, so he has the officer on staff, whether there's a retirement or not, and then get funding in the FY17 for 2 more. Now, I'm okay with having 3 new police officers, because then he gets the K-9, because we had that discussion, he and I. So I'll raise that to him if he gets his funding as he wants, but again, it's the same story as what we just discussed with management support and ZBA. This is being done.
Okay.
Without transparency. To finish the sentence in a polite way. It's not a criticism of you or an argument with you.
So what I would like for this evening is focus on the finances, because that's our role. Focus on the finances, okay? Whether they've hired a patrolman already or not, the question on the table is request 2 dispatchers, 2 patrolmen in the budget. Whether or not they've hired someone, because our role is recommendations at town meeting says what they want for the budget, make their decisions for the funding mechanism. If they go through a process where they hire someone, the funding is not there, we need to have that conversation with the Board of Selectmen immediately through not supporting a reserve fund transfer.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
If the chief had told us his plan was, or he was anticipating retirement, and he was going to fill that position with his existing budget, but he still wanted 2 more patrolmen, I think we would have had a different discussion with him.
But if you're looking at it from a headcount perspective, if he has a retirement, he's rehiring someone new, it's a net 0 on his headcount.
If the retirement
Right now it's a
occurs.
+1, but it eventually will be a net 0.
If the retirement
Right, but if I'm a numbers guy, I don't care. I care about the numbers. So if he has money in his budget to hire someone for the rest of the year, he can have at it. Okay? If the funding's not there in FY17, he needs to deal with that.
well,
It's our job and our duty to answer the request that Chief Murray has, which is two dispatchers, 2 patrolmen. So, if I can interject just quickly, I did speak with him in person a couple weeks ago, and his reasoning for not reducing the overtime, which when I had the conversation with him, he did actually mention that to us in his meeting, is because he's expanding the force, he still has the same amount of backfill that he has to cover for vacations, etc., training, court time. So therefore, overtime is still going to, he said, will run about the same amount, but he will review it at the end of next year, at the end of the year, or halfway through the year for the next fiscal year, to see if there's enough wiggle room to reduce it for next fiscal year.
I guess we can make that decision when we see how much money he turns back in July.
Yes.
I appreciate and I understand it.
We need to do this, and I'm asking you to do it. It has to be in an objective manner, okay? It has to be objectively. I understand that, yes, there are things that are absolutely driving me nuts. But right now, my job is to serve town meeting, not to criticize the Board of Selectmen.
It's not criticism, it's fact when they don't tell us the truth of the matter.
I
And
understand that.
we can't give advice to town meeting if we're not told the truth. We can't give correct information to town meeting if we're not told the truth.
To me, most of the truth lies within the numbers. That's my view of it. You know, for example, if we have an issue on the management support or this land use position, and for whatever reason, if it goes to, all right, they backhanded this, they did whatever we think that they did, we can recommend, say, look, this needs to go away because the proper channels were not followed. But it also, the thing to keep in mind is it also leaves a void in work that has to be done, which is kind of that catch-22 that sucks every year, to pardon my French. In regards to the police, I don't care if he's hired a patrolman. I just want to make a recommendation from this body of 2 dispatchers, 2 patrolmen, 1 patrolman. What do we want to give? You know, what is our recommendation? Like I said earlier, you look at the budget, we can afford it. Whether we can afford it 5 years from now remains to be seen. But for FY17, we can afford it. What is our recommendation? If he was asking for 10 patrolmen, we would definitely raise the flag and say, whoa, no, you don't have a justification for that. For the patrolmen and the dispatchers, he came, he gave his presentation. I thought he did an excellent job justifying the work that he wanted to do. Regardless of whether he hires someone last night, I don't have time to track all of that crap. All I have is time to work and to look at numbers.
I'm not suggesting you need to track anything. I was sharing a piece of information I learned today reading a bulletin board. And questioning, is that one of the 2 for next year? not knowing it was to fill a potential retirement.
It's a question we can
I'm
ask
still
Chief Murray at town
satisfied
meeting
with
floor.
hiring 2 police officers next year. We discussed on March 31st, and at that point I thought we agreed, although we didn't formally vote, that we would agree with funding one in the budget.
Mhm.
And we agreed that the second one had to come out of whatever was left in FY16's budget. However, that might now change if he's used that money to hire a patrolman early. That's a fact without a criticism that needs to be taken into consideration. It's a complete change of what happened on March 31st, of our discussion on March
Okay.
31st. I don't know the answer. Because if the retirement doesn't happen, there still won't be enough in the budget FY17 with the amount requested.
Then we say no to a reserve fund transfer.
Again. I agree. I mean,
There-
that's
there's
all,
a
that's the
process.
solution.
There is a process in place, and it's government, so it's a slow process.
Well, then I suggest that we stand by the March 31st discussion that was at least a consensus agreement among the three of us.
Mhm.
Because I firmly believe we could have been told what was planned for April, whatever today is, 19th, in advance.
Okay. So that's the question. When it comes to the funding mechanism on the police, what do we want to recommend to town meeting? Is it, I think 2 dispatchers, I think we're all in agreement on 2 dispatchers.
And we agreed to fund it.
Yeah. So for the patrolman, recommend funding for a single patrolman.
For FY17, we will support funding for one.
For one. Okay.
That was what we discussed on March 31st. And that a second patrolman can be funded within the budget as it exists. And we have the added support for that argument by fact of the appointment last night. Unfortunately, I am missing a important meeting across the hall that deals with my neighborhood.
Alright, so I'll take a motion for support since this is a deviation. Take a motion to support the police department to funding to the police department for 2 dispatcher positions and 1 additional patrolman position.
I'll let you do that motion, because I think it was your suggestion last week, or last meeting.
Motion to approve the funding of 2 dispatchers and 1
Right.
patrolman.
Friendly amendment to recommend. Instead of
Oh, a
approve.
friendly recommend.
No, just to change approve to recommend.
Oh. Change, oh, alright. I would like to recommend that we have 2 dispatchers and 1 patrolman funding for FY17.
Any second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Chair says aye, 3-0 unanimous. Okay. Anything else on police for discussion? Building inspection, we passed on that, any additional?
Did you have something on that too? I
I
don't,
think it was
think
all
we-
part of the whole
yeah,
management
I'm-
support
I'm-
discussion. So I'm fine with
I
that.
was gonna say fine isn't the word I choose, but I've
Moving
had
on.
enough talk about it.
DPW admin, I just wanted to point out that the $15,000 parking study is still in there. And I'm hoping and I'm assuming that after the conversations with town accountant and the town administrator, that they did follow up with DPW superintendent, and it is, I guess, I'm assuming it is a viable number. It is supposed to look at, just to reiterate, everything, all of the parking within town for commuters, not just the proposed new parking lot over by the rail trail.
Wasn't there a recommendation to roll that up into the other study that was north of $100,000?
I think so.
A comprehensive study.
Yeah,
Comprehensive plan.
apparently that
It's-
couldn't be accomplished with.
No, the comprehensive plan is gonna be like a 2-3 year process.
There was some.
But I just
talk about-
wanted,
I mean, there was
I'm
discussion.
fine leaving it in and let town meeting make that recommendation. Or make their decision. But I just wanted to point out that that was still in there.
Since we're in the DPW admin, right? I have not looked at the warrant, I don't know if you have, Scott, I
No.
don't think Mary Ann has, but the reclassification contract amendments that were approved at last night's selectmen's meeting, are they in the warrant as required by the contract?
The reclassification contract.
The DPW superintendent,
I
the
don't
town
believe that they are.
engineer, and the town administrator's contracts were, I don't wanna say renegotiated, but amended last night, and those required town meeting warrant articles for approval, just like any other contract. And I don't see them in here. So, how do we put it in the budget? Again, please understand my questions are not
Right, well,
expecting you to
just
know the
as
answers.
frustrated as you are, that's the problem. Well, it's been pretty much radio silence other than the bare minimum communication over the last few weeks, so I didn't really expect us to get anything that we had asked for. So, you know, if they wanna shut us out of the budget process that they're gonna put on the warrant, that's their decision.
Well,
Our decision, our job.
is the
to go to
funding
town meeting.
mechanism, so I would suggest then that we be prepared to remove this $10,008 from the salary line. I presume that's the renegotiated salary.
It is, yeah, 10,000.
Because it needs a warrant article. It needs to be put on the warrant as a separate line item according to the contracts. You can't just slide it in the budget. Which then gives town meeting the opportunity to ask what the reclassification was about.
So I recommend a $10,000 reduction at the DPW admin.
I think we should.
Is that a motion?
I move that we recommend the line item, the increase in the DPW administration salary line item of $10,008. I'm sorry, take that, well, yeah, just the $10,008. We recommend against it, not removal, but we recommend against approving it. Because it should be in a separate warrant article, because it was a contract renegotiation. Some wordy, I'm sorry, but. Recommend against approval as a budget item.
Well, so we're finalizing our recommendations on our budget. So really, we're just looking to strip it out of our budget recommendation. Does that make sense? So ultimately, if you look at this sheet here, so this is primarily what's on the warrant. It's a slightly different format, but this is what, right now, what we're recommending. This is in our budget model. This is what the Board of Selectmen approved last night. So there's this difference column. which is related to, it's just a single page that was handed out tonight. So ultimately what we're trying to do is build this column here, which is gonna be, you know, I guess the FinCom budget versus the Board of Selectmen budget, and then there's gonna be differences. And this is what we're gonna speak to, is what these differences are, and whether or not, or I guess why we differ on those amounts. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just trying to correlate.
Because I feel like we're trying to solve for everything tonight, and we don't have to. We just have to put together a recommended budget, and if we want to remove, if we want to recommend the reduction of $10,000 out of DPW admin for the reclassification, then we have every right to do that. And it's just a motion to remove that on our recommendation for the DPW admin.
And that's what I tried to say. Recommend against approval as a budget line item as it needs to be approved as a separate warrant article.
Okay. I feel like we're all putting too much thought into this.
Well,
Alright, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of reducing our recommended DPW admin budget by $10,000 say aye.
aye.
Aye. Chair says aye. It's 3-0 unanimous. Anything else for DPW admin?
Oops, I lost track of my other papers. I used to have all this paper at these meetings. My notes on the old spreadsheet that we were working from last meeting, 3 positions were reclassified, but in fact only 2.
Only 2 got approved. Moving on, next one is snow removal. So the budget that passed, or that the Board of Selectmen approved, is a level funding of snow removal. So we can't increase a budget once it's on the warrant, so therefore there's no action we can actually take on this. So I just wanted to point that out.
Were we going to increase it?
We had recommended increasing it to about $300,000. And again, I put that in an email to the town administrator, the town accountant, and I didn't hear back from any of them on anything.
You must be looking at the wrong line item because
You have the correct,
this one says 343.
that's an older version then.
Oh, sorry.
We only have 20 versions kicking around here.
Okay, this one is 262. Yeah, okay.
So I just wanted to point that out.
So the BOS budget is level funded, did not include the FinCom recommended increase. Is that the best way to put that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at our last meeting minutes or notes to.
Next one is library. So just for discussion purposes, we didn't get a follow-up with Marion looked on that? Okay. Alright, that's fine. So it's on the warrant, there'll be town meeting's decision if they wanna hire that position. Do we have any hard position or hard thoughts
I
on
have some
that?
information, but I don't have any position.
Okay.
Well, no change in the position. What I can share with you, and it just happens that I'm friends with 3 of the trustees outside of the fact that they're trustees. And I was at one of their houses on Sunday, one of the trustees' houses on Sunday. The trustees, and I said, when are you meeting again? They are meeting on the 26th. And it's my understanding the library hours are on their agenda.
Okay,
So they're already ahead of the game.
excellent.
And I suggested they better add them. And I even went so far as to say, why don't you just add an hour a day? Or, you know, if there's a real issue with
Weekend
it.
time. Let's put time on the weekends. Alright, so yeah,
They are open on Saturdays, she said.
it's only 3 hours.
Yeah, it's 10 to 1.
Oh,
Yeah, it's only.
I don't go.
It's the only time
I read
can
5 days a week, I don't wanna read on weekends.
So I think my thought, which I was going to discuss later on, is when we get to this, we do ask the library, like we pass on it when they go through the honors, and we ask them, the board of trustees, to address that.
I did not go into that discussion with
Okay.
them, but I figured if they increase the hours, I'll suggest to my friend that they
Yeah.
might wanna
Because
give
if they
town
increase the
meeting a heads
hours,
up.
I'm 100% for it. I mean, you know, and I kind of got that sense from the two of you also.
Absolutely,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
no, absolutely. So with any luck, it'll all go smoothly on the 26th.
Okay.
And I was careful, I didn't wanna, I knew that you were gonna try and reach out to Mary Ann, and I didn't wanna get in your way with it, but I wanted to at least share that you'd be at Deb's house, so.
Next is unemployment compensation. I just need to, the number that they put on the warrant was 40,000. I just need to adjust that.
I don't think I even wrote down a pass on that one.
I would mark just for discussion.
I-
And group health insurance actually reduced. I just wanted to point that out because I was surprised to see the number was as low as it was last night on what the board of selectmen approved.
I did repeat that. So
I have
unemployment,
notes.
unemployment is 25,000?
Yes, the unemployment will be 25,000 flat.
Okay.
Um,
And the health insurance, you said, what went down?
It went down, yeah, in my notes. Oh, here they are. Kept them separate so I could find them.
It was 127, 737.
The premiums were level over last year, and I guess there were individuals opting out to other plans. So that's why the original increase I think was supposed to be like 120 something thousand.
127, and the new increase is 74. Is that correct?
69.
Oh, this says 74, this document.
Oh, there's a $4,800 below for the health.
Oh,
provider.
so sorry, I'm looking at the
Just between the two
horizontal,
lines.
yep,
Yeah,
yep,
sorry.
yep, yep.
Okay, so that's it for the budget. So takeaways for our final recommendation will be,
Alright, let's see, we're going back to,
so we're gonna leave management support. Town council is fine with the additional 15,000 for the potential eminent domain.
with management support, we're gonna discuss on town meeting,
Correct.
at town meeting.
For the police, we're gonna recommend 2 dispatchers, 1 patrolman.
Mhm.
DPW, we're gonna remove the 10,008 out of the budget,
And the rest of it's
and everything else.
fine, so those are
The
the three
other-
hot buttons.
Big question is the COLA.
Yeesh.
So
And the selectmen's budget was 2?
2%. And I do have the non-union, I have more paper.
Yay.
Sorry, I asked for the Mondo pad, I couldn't get it tonight. So this is the listing of the non-union employees, so this gives a breakdown of what the cost is at 2% and at 1%.
I can't see it
I'm
even with my glasses. I'm
That's
sorry,
silly.
Scott.
Sorry, I did not have time to,
That's okay, you can read it to
enlarge
us.
so ultimately what it comes down to is a 1% is a $17,000 impact to the budget, or, sorry, 16,000 to 625,
16265?
yep, 0.93.
Well, then it's 16266. In accounting world, right?
No. Technically be 17 because we do everything in thousands. 2% would be 30,000. 30,270. It's not exactly twice that, which is one thing I couldn't quite figure out on that.
Yeah, that doesn't make any
No, it
sense
doesn't.
at all.
So I'll keep my comments to myself.
the computer do the adding?
Unless she-
Because we know computers don't make mistakes.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is according to the schedule, would be 3271 for 2%, so the net difference is around $15,000. The big question when it comes to the COLA, is it worth having that battle over town meeting floor, or letting it lie?
It just goes back to what was originally decided by, was it the personnel board where they were going to, the recommendation was to make it based off of,
CPI.
yeah,
Well, they gave a presentation to the Board of Selectmen, I think the week or two after we met with them, and I made that comment. And they had an analysis of what the CPI was versus what the raises were for, but it doesn't talk anything to the process of how they got to the decision for whether it was 1%, 2%, or 0%. So,
I would suggest simply that we give our recommendation of 1%, if that's
Okay.
what we're going to do, and explain why the budget says 2%.
well, we can't explain why it was 2%.
Well, we can say the Board of Selectmen approved 2%.
Well, that's true.
We
Yeah,
recommend
it's
1%
that
based on,
The thought behind that, I can't necessarily.
there was some outcry, and I think there was some misunderstanding by residents who watched the meeting, because it's in some people's heads that this 2% COLA was for the unions. Which of course it's not, which is why I
Right.
asked the question at the beginning, because I thought perhaps I missed something, because I didn't watch the meeting, I just read the fallout, I guess is a way to put that. So maybe it would behoove us to make that additional explanation that this 1% is only for those non-union employees who got that $86,000 or $44,000 raise last year, that type of thing, so that there's clear.
okay, yeah.
I mean, I think it's only, your numbers, I want facts, we can have the happy medium here.
Yep.
That would be my suggestion.
Okay, so then can I get a motion for a 1% COLA for non-union employees?
To make a motion to recommend the 1% COLA for non-union employees.
I was gonna say agreed. What's the word second?
It's almost 8 o'clock, it's late, I understand.
Thank you for starting early, if I make it to 8:30 any night of the week, I've done really well.
I have a first and second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The chair says aye, 3-0 unanimous. So the three primary points that we will have as a disconnect are the police, the DPW admin, and the COLA cost. The points that we want to speak to, information-wise, is management support, library, and I'm sure we can find some others. Yes?
Were we gonna say anything specific about library?
I thought if they.
Or we're gonna let
just-
the library do it?
Well, we want to ask the library about, ask them to speak to,
Okay.
look, if this is approved, there will be, this is what will be, just kind of a
No,
guarantee there will be longer
Nothing
hours.
for us today specifically.
No.
The trustees always had a great spokesperson in Penny Kelly. You remember that, right? Yeah. And when she left the trustees, they really kind of didn't have anyone who was willing to get up and speak to town meeting, but.
I would think it would be only to their benefit to have someone speak from the library.
And
It would.
I think there are a couple people who would be very well suited to that. My friend Tim Holland especially would be.
I think Mary Ann.
Mary Ann, but she's not a trustee is where I'm going.
Understand.
But,
Can she speak on town floor though?
yeah, as an employee,
Yeah,
she
she
can,
can.
yeah.
Ken's still a trustee.
for yourself.
Alright, next is our wonderful walk through the town meeting warrant. Everyone should have, this is the first time I'm seeing this myself, I got it in the mail today, or in email today.
And this is fine.
This was approved last night by the board of selectmen, so
So there-
we're gonna walk through, I think we'll cover it, we'll just walk through everything, and, if there's any points of discussion, we'll do the pass. If not, we will if there's no passing, we'll just make a recommendation on the articles that we want. Let me put this, if there's an article that we hit that you do not support, or you want more information, pass on it, okay?
Gotcha.
That way we can circle back. Because we've already discussed the omnibus budget, so we'll pass on that one. Pay prior year bills. Elected salary officials, I'm gonna do the pass on that one. Contract funding for DPW.
Pass. Good
Okay.
question.
Sure.
No. That's amazing, because last week, that wasn't settled.
I think they had executive session last night.
They did.
They had an MOA.
This was updated this afternoon with those numbers. So.
That explains that, but I still have a
Okay.
question.
Alright, no, that's fine. Fire contract, police superior's contract, omnibus, we'll do just a pass. Ayer Shirley Regional School District assessment.
Is that greater or lower, higher or lower than what they presented to us? It looks a little lower. Never mind, don't look, don't
No,
look.
it's, I have the schedule open.
I
I think it's the same.
Oh, really? I thought it was a little lower, but I can't remember those numbers. And I didn't write any of them down in my notes, but don't worry about it. So they're doing their usual,
74. Yeah, it's the
it's the
same.
same, alright.
Yeah, and the debt allocation's the same also.
Okay.
Neshoba Valley Regional Technical High School assessment. Moving on, enterprise fund article, solid waste.
I just wanna take a quick look at some of these. Ambulance is in the green again, or I guess it's black in the county.
Yes, black.
As is sewer.
Sewer.
Yay! And water. Nice. That's excellent. I
Anything-
think that's excellent, because that's the first year they've all but one has been in the,
No, usually it's only transfer station that's in them.
no, the last
Right.
couple, no, I think this is the first time that we've had no
Water's
indirect
always
cost.
been ahead,
Has it? Oh,
Yeah.
well, I missed water, but sewer is good too.
very tight
Excellent.
though.
Moving on to revolving funds, communication funds, fire alarm funds, hazardous material funds, 4th of July funds, DPW inspection fees funds, town hall maintenance funds. Moving on to the borrow article, capital budget requests, Article 20.
Anything missing?
2.6 million total has been vetted by the capital planning
Yeah.
committee.
No add-ons this year? Last minute add-ons?
None that I've heard of.
No.
They haven't gone print yet. Article 21, capital budget requests, about $110,000 coming from free cash. 22, UDAG replacement, planning board administrative assistant, additional fire station land, and engineering services for West Main and Shirley Street Bridge totaling $355,000. Stabilization fund, sum of $638,876 in the way things stand so far, with $500,000 going to capital. Article 20, oh sorry, was that? Question, comment? No? Okay. Article 24, master plan update, I do want to pass on
I think
this
it was
one
a
just for
stifled
discussion.
yawn. Where'd it go? Master plan, is that what you're,
Yeah, the master plan.
I know, but I lost my page.
Page 10.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. GASB OPEB, $300,000 total. That's recommended by the GASB Oversight Committee or Board.
So 120 from taxes basically, and 180 from free cash.
Yeah, the 120 is an estimated for the meals tax.
Oh, okay, I didn't read the note, I'm sorry, good. That was my idea. That feels-
Article 26, arbitrage rebate compliance service. Article 27, payroll accrual consulting services.
See, I got a different copy. Mine is numbered different than yours.
Payroll accrual.
Is yours from last night?
Yes.
No, we got this one today. I think you only left us 3 copies though, sorry.
That's okay.
I'm not understanding what that is, but I don't care.
27,
Yeah, I don't care, I don't care.
real quick. It's a module on this payroll software that actually puts how many PTO days people have accrued on their paychecks, on their stubs.
Who knew that wasn't already on there, but yeah, it's amazing.
We didn't offer flexible spending until 2 years ago either, so.
We should outsource that.
Like I said, it's government, it's slow. Funding for Ayer Cultural Council, $4,600. First year's interest general fund borrowing, $93,520. Other business articles, East Main Street area water mains, that is just to approve, so that is not FinCom. Well, actually, because there's additional costs that could come to the town for that.
Actually, it's changing a single word
Yes.
in the article, that's all it's doing.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. It because it frees up the cash from being available for just East Main Street itself to the surrounding area.
Because it came under what we budgeted, and that was the residents, if you don't mind me just saying.
No, please.
At the meeting they had with the residents, he said it came under budget, and they said, well then, why don't you do some of ours, so
Add the,
that this article will allow them to do that.
Alright. 32, Community Preservation Act and Community Preservation Funds. Those are the 2 standard CPC articles. 34, Sandy Pond School Association Conditions, Assessment Funding Project, $20,000. 35, Authorization of the extension of the town water and sewer line. Sorry, that's the one I was thinking of. I don't know, do you think that would fall under our jurisdiction? Because it's not a financial cost, it's just to pursue discussions on that.
I'd have to read this a little bit. No permanent water sewage line.
So this allows the DPW superintendent to pursue discussions about expanding the sewage out, is it Harvard Road? Into Harvard.
It does have potential financial implications,
Okay.
because
We'll make a
it
recommendation.
would be an intermunicipal agreement, so we pass on that for discussion, is that what we're gonna do?
I'm okay with it. If you want to have further discussion, we can do that. My question was only whether we should include it in our recommended articles, or the articles we're going to take a position on.
Let's have a short discussion,
Okay.
won't say much, I hope.
Article 36, acquisition of property at Depot Square access corridor. So these are the eminent domain, 36 and 37. 36 is for just the access corridor itself. So that would be just the strip of land from Main Street to the platform. And then Article 37 is access corridor in Advocates Building, so that's the corridor plus the building.
Try to take the building too.
Yes. So they left both on, so Article 37 was Selectman Hillman's request to take the building also. Last night's discussion was they opted to leave them on to give town meeting a choice as to which one they wanted to pursue.
And Chris wasn't there last night.
And Chris wasn't there last night. So the difference between the two, other than just the cost in acquiring the building, is that if we acquire the building, there's also additional cost for moving the tenants somewhere else. So I don't know, honestly, I don't know if we can make a recommendation, yes or no, on this yet, but,
I certainly wouldn't be able to do it tonight
yeah,
without
neither
knowing
would I.
more.
Okay.
We have to do that at town meeting. After
Okay.
the decision, well, I don't know how we do that. Okay, back to.
Alright, so back to the pass.
Did you pass on it? Yeah, we both
I
did.
passed it on the elected salaries, so the elected salaries, despite our recommendations of the 2% COLA, which was requested by the elected officials, they also gave the step on top of that, which looks like, so it's 2.5% plus 2% for the 4.5%.
How do the selectmen have the authority to do that?
I don't know. It's an elected official, we made the recommendation through an email that it was a 2% increase because that's what was requested. They're not on the grid, though the compensation study, their salaries were placed on the grid. They're not active in the grid, and therefore they should not be stopped.
Agreed.
So,
Move that we recommend against approval of Article 3 as placed on the warrant.
I have a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 We're getting real quiet on our eyes.
Maybe another 20 minutes or a half hour till
No,
this.
we're done before that, I hope.
3-0 unanimous. Contract and DPW union contract was our next pass.
My question is simply this, and while I appreciate the fact that the funding mechanism is in here, it doesn't tell us what is in the contract, 2%, 3%, 1%, clothing allowance, stipends, whatever, the details aren't there,
Yep.
as is usually the case,
Or should be the case.
or should be the case. So, while I don't want to recommend against it,
We don't have to give a recommendation on it, we can pass.
well,
My,
we can make our
my
decision
hope,
before town meeting if we can see the contract.
we can do that, yeah, we can do a report, and so,
Pass on it for now.
alright, hold on, let me get my notes here, Article 3.
For
So
Oh.
Article 4,
pass for now, get contract.
which is the DPW contract. No recommendation, or no decision. 5 and 6, we'll pass on those.
This goes to print this week, right?
If there's nothing in there for those contracts, and there's no MOA, they get stripped out.
Yeah, that's,
They won't, they
but I
won't
mean,
be on.
it's this week.
Yeah, it is this week,
Yeah,
my understanding is
Friday,
Friday,
I think,
yes. Number 7, Article 7, the omnibus budget. Alright, let me put it to you this way, we can't recommend it and then speak
Exactly.
against it.
Exactly. So, yeah, that was my thought, but I was thinking, what am I missing there? There's something wrong with that, but
Just a recommendation not to, or a motion not to
I
recommend.
got it.
the
I
omnibus
move that
budget
we
as
not
presented.
recommend the omnibus budget as presented by the selectmen. Because they're gonna present it, right?
Yeah. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. 3-0 unanimous.
It's presented.
Regional school district.
Did you pass on that?
No,
Oh,
sorry, I'm
No,
still
that's
just
all right.
trying to get my,
did we pass them?
I'm
Master
trying to mark
plan.
the ones that we were recommending so we can do a single motion at the end.
Oh, all right. I was,
Neshoba Tech. Solid, moving on enterprise solid waste, ambulance, sewer, water. Moving on to revolving funds, communication, alarm fund, fire alarm fund.
I'm good until we get to 24, if that helps you.
Alright, 3 to 24. Master plan update. Okay, so all I want to do is kind of give my opinion on this, because I know we had a couple of different conversations when we met with the Board of Selectmen. The initial, or I guess the kind of the takeaway from the Board of Selectmen's meeting that we had with them was to see if they could phase in two pieces, $50,000 this year, $50,000 next year. I did happen to be in the building with 5-10 minutes to spare. When they were meeting, when the committee was meeting, the comprehensive plan committee, and they actually were discussing this when I walked in. So the board themselves, or the committee themselves they were ardent that they wanted the 100,000 on the warrant, and they understand that it can be reduced at town meeting, but they do want to ask for the full funding. Part of their concern is getting $50,000 this year and then not getting the funding next year, even though it is going to be split over 2 years. So I think, from my opinion, it's a separate committee that's requesting the funding. It is something that has to be paid. The total cost is still going to be $100,000, whether it's phased in or not, and we leave it as it's been requested on the warrant. And it's up to, I guess, I don't know if anyone has any ardent opinions on whether they want the 100,000 all in this year, or they just don't care, want to pass on it.
Scott, excuse me, do you want me
Yes.
to lock the door? We're done zoning. right?
No,
Yeah,
I'll
we're
look
still
up
at
afterwards,
meeting.
because we're still in open session.
All right.
Thanks.
I don't know enough about it, but to really even make a decision. It's being split over 2 years. How do you fund something 1 year and pay for it a second year? When whatever's left at the end of FY17 goes back to the general fund.
Encumber it.
Yeah, it's encumbered.
Mm-hmm.
If this can be encumbered, I thought only wages could be encumbered.
No,
No,
no.
no.
That's all I've
I'm
ever
just
seen
repeating what
encumbered.
Mary says.
That's all I've ever seen encumbered. I mean, borrow articles is different. That's a different issue. But I've not seen anything but wages encumbered.
Oh no, we encumber it all the time.
I don't know.
I'm okay recommending that for the $100,000 this year. The part of what goes into that thought process is we have the free cash available.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with the amount. It's just what really happens at the end of the fiscal year with the leftover.
It'll be free, if that's the case, it'll be free cash next year. Marianne, any thoughts, cares, still late? Okay. Do we want to pass a recommendation on this, or a vote?
I don't have a feeling one way or the other. I really don't. I'm sorry to say.
Okay, so we'll pass.
I think that was the last of them. Nope, I'll take that back. Pass
So
on 35.
25, 26, 27, 28, 29,
30 and 31 don't require. That's not a financial article.
no. 32, 33, 34, and then 35.
Oh, that was.
That was your, that was
That
your
was me.
pass, yes.
Do you want to see?
I was just looking.
The concern I have here is, and this was raised when there was a request from the town of Groton to access our
Mhm.
water and sewer as well. The decision made at the time, based on recommendation of town council, is my memory. Helps, and I'm not saying that's fact, I just, that's my memory. Because there's no way to force someone in another town to pay a bill if they don't pay it. So if we're going to be selling our water to residents in Harvard with an intermunicipal agreement with the town of Harvard, we have no legal authority to pursue the resident who's using the water if they don't pay the bill. We can't shut it off, we can't, so on and so forth. That's my only concern.
Okay.
Now, it's entirely possible there's a different opinion from town council, obviously.
We can't, well,
So,
we don't have to make a recommendation, yes or no.
I would
We
say
can always
pass on it
pass
for now and get
okay.
some more information.
And just raise that question at the town meeting.
Um,
That's a great question. Anything else on 35?
no.
Okay, 36 and 37, I don't think we have enough information to make a full recommendation on that, yes or no? Okay, so we'll pass on 36 and 37.
Yes.
All right.
You're gonna read it, the ones that we're gonna,
Yes, can I get a? We passed on
if you read the numbers, I'll make the motion, so.
can I get a
Two.
motion to recommend the town meeting warrant articles, Article 2, 8, 9, 10,
through 13, 14 through 19, 20,
10 through 23,
21, 22.
because we're gonna pass on 24, and then 25 through 29. And
30,
then-
31 don't require one.
And 32
Do we,
through 34.
do we usually make recommendations on community preservation?
We do, yeah.
Have we done it?
Yeah, we have in the past. It's an important piece because it actually sets up the funding mechanism
I
for
was
it.
one of the original members of that committee, I
And we
get it,
spent time on it.
I'm not opposed to it.
It's back in my young and stupid days, like, yeah, I'll do another committee. Which I think finally ended last year.
That was a very interesting committee when it first began, with Patrick Hughes as chairman and me as vice chair, let me tell you.
Alright, do I have a motion for those recommendation of those articles?
I move that we approve Articles 2, or I move that we recommend approval of, right?
Yes.
Articles 2, 8, 9, Enterprise Articles 10 through 13, Revolving Fund Articles 14 through 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, Community Preservation Articles 32 and 33, 30, Article 34, and that's it.
Do I have a second? All those any further discussion for, no, all those in favor say aye. Aye, 3-0, it's unanimous. So we have no opinion or no recommendation on Article 3, 4 through 6.
4 through 6, four we just passed on.
Yeah. Let me make sure we have all this right.
3 is a no recommendation.
3 is no recommendation, you're right, I'm sorry.
7 is a no recommendation.
Yeah.
4 we pass, get a
4,
copy
5,
of
and
the,
6 we passed.
get a copy of the contract. Well, 6, 5 and 6 we did nothing because there's nothing there.
Right.
24,
We passed on.
um,
35.
yeah, 35,
Passed on.
we have a question about. And then 36 and 37 we passed on.
Okay. Alright, so,
Any more paper we have to look at?
yeah.
I work
So,
in a paperless environment all day, so paper drives
So
me
what I
crazy
did-
these days.
I don't know how to go paperless for all this stuff, to be honest.
You
I
know,
don't.
when we went paperless, I had the heebie-jeebies over it, cause I had
But,
claim files and it's
You know, the board of
highlighted
selectmen
in-
have their iPads, we don't have anything like that. Unless everyone wants to
We're the
bring a
best.
laptop or what,
Bad
that's the only thing.
stepsisters.
Alright, so, town meeting is on May 9th. I would like to, if everyone is available, actually meet, I prefer to meet next Wednesday on the 27th. It's our regularly scheduled second meeting. If that doesn't work, we can do perhaps May 4th.
I don't know if I'll be available the 27th,
Okay.
but I will know tomorrow.
Okay, so would that work with you?
The fourth?
No, the
27th.
27th, next Wednesday.
There's just a real sound of
That's fine.
fear in her voice there. The fourth?
Actually,
No, the fourth
Actually-
works better for me.
the 4th works better.
Does the
Sorry,
27th
I just
not
had
work
eaten
for you?
today and I feel like I'm about to pass out, sorry.
Alright.
The 27th would not be the better of the 2 days.
Alright, so when we
So I don't have to worry about the 27th then, and we'll go with the 4th? Is
shoot
that
for the
good?
4th, okay. So for there, I'll put together a preliminary presentation information for town meeting. And we can discuss kind of our, I guess, tactics for town meeting, what we wanna do, what we wanna present. I really think the approach we need to take is, this is what Board of Selectmen recommends, put on the warrant, this is what we recommend, and
Give them the facts.
give them the facts, and this is how you make changes. So we'll skip through everything else, so that's gonna be 5, 4, anything else to discuss this evening?
No.
Okay.
You got a reserve fund request, I gave you.
Oops.
I haven't even had a chance to look at it, so
It's from Lisa, I think she sent you
Yeah.
an email, they
I
approved
haven't,
it.
I
That's
haven't
the
even read, I
original.
haven't read the email either, and it's not on the agenda. I just got the email, I think, yesterday, so it's gonna have to wait. Sorry. Sorry,
Well,
it's not on the agenda, so.
I
can't-
know it wasn't. She
Okay,
was there last night and she said the original is in the box. I said, I'll give it to Scott.
alright, thank you, I appreciate that.
That's all.
Been consolidating numbers for 3 weeks now, so.
All right.
So next meeting's May 4th, and with that, if there's nothing else,
6:30 or 7? Which is better? Does it matter?
7's better for me.
7,
I
okay.
prefer 7 myself,
I'll survive.
sorry.
It's okay.
I'll just work an hour longer.
That'll take a motion to adjourn.
We're
At
gonna adjourn at 8:30.
8:23.
8:23? Oh, that clock's way off. 8.
Do I have a second?
23.
Alright, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.